The hallway of the military hospital was silent except for the squeak of a mop bucket rolling slowly across the floor. Mark Wilson pushed it with tired hands. His shoulders slumped after a long night shift. He wore the same faded blue janitor uniform he'd been wearing for 3 years, ever since his life had fallen apart and he'd taken any job he could find to keep food on the table for his daughter. Inside room 417, high-ranking officers stood at attention. Today was not an ordinary day. General Rebecca Hayes, one of the most respected and feared commanders in the country, was visiting wounded soldiers and meeting staff. Everyone was nervous. Even doctors were double-checking their badges. Mark didn't care about rank or titles. He just needed to finish cleaning the floor before school pickup time. As he turned the corner, he saw the group of officers. Outside room 417, in the middle of them stood the general herself, tall, sharp posture, eyes that looked like they could cut through steel. Mark lowered his head and continued pushing his mop. But then something caught his eye. As General Hayes turned slightly, the sleeve of her uniform shifted. For a brief second, Mark saw it, a small tattoo on her wrist. His heart skipped. He stopped walking. His hands began to shake, because he had seen that tattoo before. Not on a soldier, not on an officer, on his 6-year-old daughter's shoulder. It was a tiny symbol, a star with a broken circle around it. Doctors had always said it was strange. Probably just a birthmark, they told him. But Mark knew better. He had seen real tattoos. He had served once too, years ago, before his wife disappeared and left him alone with a baby and broken dreams. Mark stared, unable to move. One of the officers snapped, "Hey, janitor, keep moving." But Mark couldn't. His mind raced back to the night at the hospital 6 years ago, when his daughter Emily was born. His wife had been unconscious during delivery, complications, confusion, nurses rushing in and out. Then 2 days later, his wife vanished without a trace. No note, no explanation. Just gone? Mark swallowed hard, and before he could stop himself, the words came out. "My daughter has your tattoo." The hallway went dead silent. Every officer turned. The general froze. Slowly, she looked at Mark. "What did you say?" she asked, her voice calm but sharp. Mark's legs felt weak. "My daughter. She has that same mark. Right here." He pointed to his own shoulder. "Same shape. Same place." The officers stepped forward. "Sir, you need to?" "Stand down," General Hayes said. Her eyes never left Mark. "Describe it," she said quietly. Mark did. Every detail. The tiny notch in the circle. The faint star point that looked like it had been smudged. The general's face drained of color. She slowly pulled her sleeve higher, fully revealing the tattoo. It was identical. Exactly identical. The hallway felt like it had lost all air. "That's not possible," one officer whispered. The general's voice trembled for the first time. "How old is your daughter?" 6, Mark said. "She was born here, in this hospital." General Hayes took a step back like she'd been hit. Her hand went to her mouth. Then she said the words Mark never expected to hear. "My child was born here too." Mark's heart nearly stopped. She stared at him like she was seeing a ghost. "I was told she didn't survive." The world felt like it was spinning. What are you saying?" Mark whispered. Before she could answer, alarm suddenly rang from inside room 417. A wounded soldier had gone in too. Cardiac arrest. Doctors rushed in. Chaos erupted. But General Hayes didn't move. She looked at Mark and said, "After this, you and I are talking. Do not leave." Mark nodded, barely breathing. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the emergency settled. The soldier was stable. The general dismissed the officers. Then she turned to Mark. "Walk with me." They sat in a quiet conference room. Her hands shook as she spoke. 6 years ago, she had been on a classified mission overseas, pregnant but refusing to step down. During a covert operation, her convoy was attacked. She went into premature labor after being evacuated. Doctors told her the baby was stillborn. But now, Mark's head was spinning. My wife. She disappeared right after Emily was born. No one ever found her. General Hayes went pale. "What was your wife's name?" "Sarah." The general closed her eyes. My sister. Silence slammed into the room. Mark couldn't speak. Tears filled the general's eyes. She cut off contact with our family years ago. She said she wanted a normal life. Then suddenly she was reported missing. Everything started connecting in Mark's mind in the worst possible way. You think? She switched the babies. I think, the general whispered, someone lied to both of us. DNA tests were ordered immediately. While waiting, Mark went home in a daze. That night, he watched Emily sleeping, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Was she really his? Did it matter? She was still the little girl who hugged his leg every morning and called him Daddy. 2 days later, the results came. Emily was not biologically Mark's. She was General Hayes' daughter. Mark felt like his chest had been ripped open. But the test also showed something else. Emily had leukemia. Early stage, treatable but expensive. The general was crushed. I almost lost her once. I won't lose her again. Mark stood tall. She's my daughter. I've raised her. I'm not going anywhere. Legal teams got involved. Custody questions, media threats, political pressure. But something unexpected happened. General Hayes shocked everyone by refusing to take Emily away from Mark. She already has a father, she said. I won't destroy that. Instead, she moved closer, started visiting, learning bedtime routines, school meetings. Slowly, Emily gained to parents, and Mark's life changed too. The general paid for Emily's treatment quietly, without press. Then she did something even bigger. She offered Mark a position, not as a janitor, but as a facilities supervisor with benefits, training, and steady income. You deserve better than cleaning floors, she said. You protected my daughter when I couldn't. Months passed. Emily's health improved. Mark moved into a better apartment, and one day, while watching Emily play between them, the general smiled and said, "Funny how one sentence changed everything." Mark nodded. "Yeah. I almost didn't say it." She looked at him seriously. "I'm glad you did, because sometimes the smallest truth can unlock the biggest lies. And sometimes the man pushing a mop isn't just a janitor. He's the hero who saved a general's greatest treasure without ever knowing it."